Hey, so greetings and welcome back. And today we're going to have a working session. So it's not going to be an organized tutorial, but we're going to try to work through the problem as you kind of go along here. And we'll try to see if we can come up with a solution in the end. So thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And reach out to me in the comment section for any help, tips, and suggestions. Alright, so today we're going to be focused on making a template form because actually creating these, in my application is a bit much. The template that we have going, it's not just a simple reactive form. We actually set things up similar to how we set up our service method here. So I have a nice form schematic, so I'm ready to go. So now I'm in a collection.json, and I think I want to close everything. And then collection.json, first thing I want to do, I want to say, hold on. I want to say form. Form, right? So I'll just say this, and then I'll just paste that there. That's going to be my form here, and then I'll just leave a new untitled, just at the side of this. Alright, so there's going to be my form. So now it's my template form, and then files. Not necessarily new files, right? So basically, what I want to do is I essentially want to try to create my form here. There's three places I have to. I have to add a new form service object, right? And then I have to do environment.dev, right? I have to where's my form service? All right, so basically, these forms don't exist, but essentially, right, I have to get something going like this, where I have a main form and then so on and so forth. So I think one of the things I need is going to be the main form. That's going to be like the name of the. So I think what will happen is that I'm going to automatically grab the name of the component, and then I'm going to ask like, hey, what do you want the name of the form to be? So no new files are going to be created. This will just be update. And then I'm just going to factor in my schema. So it's a template form. And then we try to go from there. Right, so the schema, not to try to go away from that. Right, environment file. Well, that's going to be constant. There's really not. I'm looking at service, name of the service, yep, and then not a whole lot. So really, the name is just required. The name of the form, and then that's going to be type string. So now I'm going to go to index.ts. So anywhere I kind of see service method, I want to just make that update. I say form. Let's do case sensitive first. And then let's say service method. Let's do that case sensitivity first. Right, so I think this is like the default function here, right? And then this is all the additional functionality, right? So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete this, have the additional files open side by side so I can better understand, how things are done. And then let's start working. So, alright, essentially what I want to do, so there's really nothing to apply. There's really nothing that I kind of need to apply here. So, right, because files is gone, right? So don't necessarily need to apply, you just need to make updates. I think I can just leave the files folder in general. I'm not too sure how to. There's nothing that really needs to happen here, so we can just remove apply templates, right? Since apply needs the appropriate. Let's do it like that. So what I kind of need to do is I need to get the component that I want to create the I need to try to get the component that I want to go ahead and create the format in it. So that's first things first. So I think if I kind of see that, right? So basically, we try to look through these files here, and try to see which one actually like pulls a file, because ServiceNet kind of does that with services. All right, so I got update service file. So I'm gonna say let update component file, right? And then it's going to be options, and then that's the env file path, right? Which is going to be options, and then I'm going to say my template form schema. So I return the host, which is going to be my tree. As I'm looking at this, I might need path, because I know what the schemas for they also provide the code, so you can leverage the working directory. And then it should work if anything, right? So component, service, directive. So that should generally work if anything. I said will be. And then I say update class file, basically. And then file. So basically, I probably want to support more, because I don't want to limit this to components. But I guess I'll be able to tell whether it's going to be a class, whether it's a component, whether it's something I'm updating, or. So there's that. So basically, what I kind of do here. Select form file path. Or say update service file. So basically, right, I think what's essentially going to have to happen is that I'm going to have to find the file that I kind of want to update here. So basically, if it's a component, it's going to suffix with component.ts. If it's a service, service.ts, and then directive.ts. So let's try to see if I can get a list of files. Alright, so basically I made a function in my utilities, right, list files, so now I don't ever have to worry about it. Alright, so there's that. And then really don't kind of care that we're essentially saying. So that files equals that path, and then I also need the tree, so it's going to be the host. And then, just to make it easier on myself, I'll just say tree, because that's how ChatGPT is referring to things. So files, and then let's say throw new schematics exception got here. There's really not going to be a template. Also, I may not even need. Alright, so I may not even need any this I'm kind of working with here, so I may not even need this. If I say update class file, say options, good, and then try to run that. So basically, I want to see how this works, and then I think the schema. The form, and then nothing's really required here because by default I could just say name form, and then we're kind of good to go. So that takes care of that. Now, I gotta hate this when they do this. Looks like it kind of pauses. It doesn't really. I don't know if it's rebuilding, but hopefully they have documentation on this. I'll have to go to ngconf if I want the documentation for schematics. It should be available, but it's not. Alright, so now really time for me to try out my try out what we got going on here. So see login 0 ls. So now, right, we're gonna say it's gonna be a new command. Right? To create an angular form, right? We're going to go ahead and say, we're going to say form, and then it doesn't need a name. I don't think it needs anything. I think you could just go ahead and generate it just like that, right? If I look at the schema one more time, name form, and then the path. So, could just go ahead and generate it like this, and let's try to see what happens. Schematic form can't resolve the factor, so it kind of sees it, but I think some things I've left out. So I'm going to try to see what's going on here. Let's look at my index. I might need a default function. Let's try that again. And then look at my collection.json template form. Alright, so I see generate form template. Alright, maybe it doesn't need it to be. I think I spelt the just to generate form template. And try to go from there. Alright, trying it again. Alright, so default is invalid. So that means I kind of don't know. Then is it default? As indicating that it needs to be an object. Now I wonder if any other schemas kind of indicate this. Alright, good. So look, this is what I got. So essentially, I want to update this file. So basically, I'm looking for component.ts, service.ts, or directive.ts, right? You don't really use directives. So basically, just grab another component, if anything, apps, front end, angulaer, source, shared services, right? And if you go into nav, and then we want to try to say mpx I basically want to look for nav service itself. So there's that. So now, once I have the list files, then essentially what I want to do is I want to say let target file name equals files.find file, return file that ends string, ends with so basically I want to say ts service.ts includes, then say or not necessarily, or say sub val. Alright, so there's that. So that's going to be my target file name. Then if, and I say tree.read, okay, so I say target path, not to normalize it, and then we have the normalized input. Oh no, it doesn't know where it is. I'll take a lucky guess, hopefully. And if anyone could please provide in the comments how it would just go about silencing the unused imports. I really kind of need the silence. It looks like they really don't want this to be like this, but for development purposes, definitely gonna need that. Definitely gonna need that to try to happen here. So let me know in the comment section. Alright, and then you could just say source file. So now we're going to say the source file, right? We're going to need that source file, right? So to convert this into a TypeScript tree, which we can start to navigate through and edit the TypeScript in a DOM-like way. So there's that. and then essentially we kind of want to try to make the update. So basically, I think basically if anything, I want to go ahead and print out the source file here to try to see what I'm working with. Because basically, what's going to happen is that we kind of need to know where to insert. We kind of need to know where to make an insert dot full text. Let's try to see what this looks like. All right, good. So this is as I can see here, right? This is a component that I definitely want to try to work with. So now, right, this is going to be my logic. I'm going to go component, and then if I want to just go ahead and add a form, I'll essentially, right, I want to try to grab a component, and I'll essentially want to make some properties, right? So from right here, I want to make a main form bars, fields, right, and then write out the appropriate update. So let's try to see what that looks like. So basically, I want to write it after the last property. Basically, I want to write it after the last property that I see in this class, right? So usually, in school, right, or in Java development, right, your properties come first, then your methods come last. So basically, I gotta try to find the last property on this class. So let me try to get to the class first, which is here. All right, so here's that form. All right, so basically, right, I want to put this information here. I want to try to fill that information out. So I definitely need to see how to try to see the look how it's done. All right, so let's kind of find what we need to find here. So basically, I say update component file, right? So I say if that ends with wish I could do like a little map, but I think I'll just do that, try to optimize it a bit. Not necessarily, right? So I want to say there's no I want to kind of try to reverse this logic here. So basically, I want to try to say update component file. I'll just leave all the three as now. And then you just have to turn it to objects. Suffix, and then this logic essentially has to change. Has to say let target file info val and then I think I could do suffix, and then also so from there, so there's my target file info. Predicate, good. They should be good to go. Alright, and now I could start to work with my data here. Right, so I'm gonna say log options, and then so now everything's going to get used. So now basically what I have to do now is I have to find my I have to essentially find the class in here. Right, so say let component class var equals source file that's statements dot filter as TS class decoration. Alright, so this is going to be TS class decoration. So I say console log, say this, and then we're going to see what we can kind of get from here. So, alright, so guys, looks like I paused the video since, but essentially what I've done was that I went and made a little predicate, and I got the file info along with the file name. So I think with that, then I just call the predicate. So I'm going to have three functions: update component file, update service, and then update directive. But since I don't have support for service and directives yet, don't even know if I will support directives. We're just going to do update component. And it's going to look for everybody to focus on the logic that's going on in there. Right. So hopefully. That length. Want to see the length? Hopefully, I should really only end up getting one class from this, or that I could do a filter because everything ends with component in our application. So I might as well. I might just say suffix with and then just say find, and then I just suffix it with component. And it's not sufficient, I understand. Ends with, that's the one I'm really looking for here. So log, component class var. Right, so essentially, as I kind of go through this, I want to be able to find the appropriate properties, right? So there's that. So let me just go ahead and run this script again. Let's try to see. Alright, so yep, this is the class that I got, or so it looks like, and these are the items, a couple identifiers here. So basically I want to try to grab all the properties, and then I want to make my insert statement at the last property here, right? So I'm going to try to see what that looks like. Alright, so basically now I want to try to filter this class number, and then I want to see if I could get the last property, right? So accordingly, right, the last property should be, if I kind of look here, right, it should be ng on sub, right? It should try to figure it out as ng on sub, and then try to go from there. Alright, so it looks like I'm looking for is property declaration. That's what essentially I'm looking for here. Alright, so we got rebuilt. Alright, so then hope I kind of get to see it, but I think I will. Alright, and then it could be undefined, so let me try to. So I also have to handle that edge case. That would just, if I find a component with nothing in there or no property declarations in there, then I'm gonna just have to add it to the last. And then still last property, then I'm gonna have to add it in there. Or no, I think if it's at the last property, then I'm gonna try to add it to the beginning of the class, because there are a bunch of properties themselves. So. So basically, right, and then right, so basically, right, there is some logic here, right? I need to update file. So basically, I need to leverage this to try and update my file, but before I need to try to create the appropriate object here. Right, so let's try to see.
So lo and behold, that's the last problem, right? So this is how we get that far. So I know that this video's kind of gone a little bit, so I'm gonna pause here, upload, and in the next session we're going to try to continue, and we're going to try to see if we can add the appropriate text. If we're going to write out the appropriate text, and let's see if we can get it